I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I love this verse, and I bet you probably love it too. And I've heard it quoted a lot. But the thing is, I often hear it quoted out of context. So stick around to hear the rest of the context of this verse. Well, welcome to Thus Saith the Lord. Gene Lloyd here, and I'm glad you're joining me today. Have you heard this verse before? Have you quoted it before? We find it in Philippians 4:13, and people often use it as a confidence booster, for being successful in a competition or in school or in sports or in lots of other kind of areas of life. Now, before we go further into digging into this one, do me a favor, click like and subscribe and follow and share this video with all the people you know who tend to misquote this verse, okay? So people tend to use it as this confidence booster, and it's not an untrue statement, but we often use it out of context. I've used it out of context before until I understood what it really meant. So let's look at this context, okay? All we really have to do is back up to verse number 10. And what we see is that Paul is very thankful for a gift that he received from the Philippian believers, from the Philippian church. And then he goes on to talk about how he's learned how to be content in situations where he was poor and hungry, and also in situations where he had more than enough. Okay, so he makes this statement after talking about being content. He makes this statement in Philippians 4:13 about Christ strengthening him, right? About being able to do all things because of that. But his point was about contentment, okay? That we can be content in any season of life because Christ will strengthen us. No matter what season you're in, you can stand and say, I can get through it. I can endure because Christ will strengthen me. Now, this is a little different than how we usually hear this verse quoted, how we usually hear it taught. And so I just want to encourage you, context is really, really important. God is always with us. But this is not the correct verse for that assertion. Something like Matthew 6:26 through 34, or maybe Matthew 28:20 would be better suited for what Philippians 4:13 is often misquoted for. Okay, so I hope you learned something new today. Thus saith the Lord. Pay attention to the context. Context is so important when we're reading Scripture. All right, I'd love to hear what you think about this one. Leave your comments below for me. Make sure you follow us, and I'll see you next time.